As we continue from identifying mold as a major environmental and legal concern, we now focus on the most critical factor in mold growth: water. In the previous section, we established that mold cannot exist without moisture. Now we take that concept further by understanding how water behaves, how it enters a property, and how it silently creates conditions for mold to develop. This section is essential because if you understand moisture, you understand mold, and if you understand mold, you reduce liability. Water exists in a continuous cycle, constantly moving between the ground and the atmosphere. This process, known as the Earth's water cycle, includes transitions between solid, liquid, and gas states. While this may seem like basic science, it has direct application in real estate. Each state of water presents a different level of risk when it comes to mold growth, and understanding these differences allows agents to better identify potential issues within a property. Solid water, or ice, presents little to no risk for mold growth under normal conditions. Because mold thrives in temperatures between approximately 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, frozen water does not provide an environment conducive to mold development. However, this does not eliminate risk entirely. During colder months, heated interiors can create temperature differentials that cause condensation on cold surfaces such as windows and exterior walls. This condensation introduces moisture, which can then lead to mold growth despite the presence of cold temperatures. Liquid water is the most obvious and most dangerous contributor to mold growth. This includes leaks, standing water, plumbing failures, and roof intrusion. When liquid water combines with organic materials such as drywall, wood, carpet, or insulation, mold can begin to develop quickly. From a transaction perspective, any evidence of past or present water intrusion, such as stains, warping, or discoloration, should immediately raise concern and trigger further investigation. Consider a practical example. A home shows minor staining on a ceiling near a bathroom. The seller states that it was from an old leak that has been repaired. However, no documentation is provided, and the area has been freshly painted. This situation presents a classic red flag. Even if the leak has been repaired, the prior moisture may have created conditions for mold growth within the structure. Failure to investigate or recommend further inspection could expose the agent to liability under AAC R4-28-1101 for failing to exercise reasonable care. Water in its gas form, vapor, is often the most overlooked source of mold risk. Unlike visible leaks, water vapor exists in the air and becomes problematic when it condenses on cooler surfaces. This commonly occurs in areas with high humidity, poor ventilation, or temperature differences between indoor air and building materials. This type of moisture is subtle, but it is one of the most common causes of mold growth in modern homes. Humidity levels play a critical role in determining whether mold can develop. When indoor relative humidity remains below 60%, mold growth is unlikely. However, when humidity rises above 70%, conditions become ideal for mold to thrive. Building materials and furnishings can absorb this moisture, creating hidden pockets of dampness that are not immediately visible. This reinforces the idea that mold is often a hidden issue, developing behind walls, under flooring, or in attics without obvious signs. Modern systems can either help or contribute to the problem. Air conditioning systems are designed to cool and dehumidify, but if improperly sized or maintained, they may cool the air without removing sufficient moisture. Similarly, everyday household activities, such as cooking, showering, and drying clothes, can introduce significant amounts of water vapor into the home. Without proper ventilation, this moisture accumulates and creates an environment where mold can develop. This leads to practical prevention strategies that also serve as key talking points for agents and clients. Proper ventilation in bathrooms and kitchens, venting dryers to the exterior, maintaining HVAC systems, and controlling indoor humidity are all essential steps in preventing mold growth. While agents are not responsible for correcting these issues, they are responsible for recognizing risk factors and recommending appropriate action. Finding mold presents an entirely different challenge. Mold is often hidden behind walls, under carpets, in attics, or beneath flooring systems. Many property owners may not recognize the signs, such as subtle staining, peeling paint, or persistent odors. This creates a situation where a seller may unknowingly fail to disclose a condition, but the agent still has a duty to exercise reasonable care in identifying potential red flags. This ties directly back to the legal framework discussed throughout this course. Under AAC R4-28-1101, agents must disclose known material facts and avoid misrepresentation. Additionally, the ADRE's expectations, supported by case law such as Hill v. Jones, 1986, require agents to act when something appears inconsistent or suspicious. Ignoring warning signs is not a defense, it is a liability. As we move into the next section, we will expand beyond environmental conditions into broader legal risks, including fraud, misrepresentation, and ethical violations. The concepts from this section carry forward, understanding hidden risks, recognizing red flags, and taking action. Because in today's real estate environment, what really matters is not just what you see, it is what you understand. Online discussion. Why is water vapor often a more dangerous source of mold than visible water leaks? Answer: because it is less noticeable and can accumulate over time through condensation, creating hidden moisture conditions that allow mold to grow without obvious signs. How do temperature differences inside a home contribute to mold growth? Answer: warm, moist air can condense on cooler surfaces such as windows or walls, creating moisture that supports mold growth even without a visible leak. What is the agent's responsibility when subtle signs of moisture or mold are observed? Answer: the agent must recommend further inspection, avoid ignoring potential red flags, and ensure that any known or suspected issues are properly addressed and disclosed.